Yeah. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause. This is our first show back. And you are, listen, 3 weeks we've been talking about the Eagles winning.
I think you up there with Gilly with the hypest loyalist fan. Like
you know, we've been promoting the Eagles.
Yes.
Right? We've been promoting the Eagles.
Blowing the whistle.
Yeah. We've been doing
wearing
a lot
the
of
colors.
Wearing the colors.
Yeah.
I've been wearing Eagles ever since the show.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We've been wearing green.
Yeah.
And so, go Birds, right?
Go Birds.
And so, you know, I just heard that they actually trademarked Go Birds.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So apparently, someone took, you know, they wanted to do like a Super Bowl party and wanted to get a cake done that said Go Birds. Mm-hmm. Well, the cake company sent a letter back to them saying, unfortunately, we can't use Go Birds. We could say, congratulations to the Eagles.
Did they find out who trademarked it?
I'm sure the NFL, the Eagles probably did it, But a cake though, for a Super Bowl party, you can't.
Absolutely.
I'm like, come on, man.
I was hoping that somebody regular did it so they could get, a couple of hours.
I know, right? I would have said, all right, well, spell birds with 2 S's or a Z. Go Birds, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's Or Eagles with
G-O-O birds.
Or E-G-L-E-S.
Oh, do that. He's trying to get them. Shout out to the mayor. Give a round of applause to the mayor. Right. And so,
we got to talk about it though. That was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it was real crazy. So I'm super excited. That we had the opportunity to actually see the Birds win finally. Well, they won a few years back. Mm-hmm. But I mean, this was a little different. I felt like the city needed this.
Yeah, it was different because
the energy was different.
Well, it was all because of how they used to say, "Oh, we don't see any franchise in Jalen Hurts. He's not going to be a."
Yeah, they was hating on Jalen Hurts.
They was hating on Hurts. When they tell you
you
can't, that victory is even better.
Oh man, give a round of applause to Jalen Hurts in the building. Round of applause to the Eagles.
I'm
just super excited.
Everybody did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll probably talk about the Eagles all night long. I'm super excited. Got my Birds shirt on, my sweatshirt on. I think maybe a few more weeks. I'll do 4 more weeks. I'll wear something green, something with the Birds, because it's just one of those things, right? I'm super excited about giving another round of applause. And so today we have a dynamic show today. We have someone with whom I have a tremendous amount of respect for has been doing a lot of work. Wait till you hear this gentleman's resume.
Yeah. It's
super
deep.
excited. Yeah.
And people who want to get gems and information on things in the Philadelphia area, stay tuned.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk a little bit about civics, the importance of civics. We got good news and bad news. We got some special
some nice good news and bad news.
All right, let's give a round of applause to Glass Lady Sparkle. And so before we go into that, let's go to Roxanne Shante. Roxanne Shante, she got an award, right? What did something happened,
Yeah,
right?
she was in the Hall of Fame.
Inducted, right?
Yeah. Is it a Rappers Hall of Fame? What is it? What do we call
hip-hop.
it?
It's hip-hop. Yeah, inducted in Hip-Hop Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes when other people say hip-hop, I don't think that they know. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, what is considered the hip-hop genre or that part?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think people who know.
Okay.
People who know, right?
She got her flowers, though.
Get a round of applause. Shout out to Roxanne Shante. Let's put her where she got. Here she go.
Hey, this is Roxanne Shante, and your week cannot be complete unless you listen to or watch We Talk Weekly. Please believe me, baby.
So you watch We Talk Weekly. She gave us a shout out. Shout out to Roxanne Shante. I consider her the first ever female rapper.
No.
I mean, yeah.
Lady B would be upset.
Why would Lady B? Lady B is a DJ.
Lady B was the first rapper. She was the first rapper.
Lady B?
Lady B. Oh, we need to bring Lady B on here.
Come on, cut it out. Roxanne Shante. What are you talking about?
All right, Google it then.
I had to Google it.
Yeah, Google it.
Well, I'll say the first commercial, right?
Okay.
I'll say first commercial. I won't even call her commercial rapper. Right. I just say the first noted. Roxanne, she just was inducted in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's beautiful. But I don't think I don't think she was the first.
I got to do my homework.
Please
I got to do
do.
my homework.
Yeah.
I got to do my homework. All right. Well, I'll give her a round of applause anyway. So, yeah, before we do good news or bad news, you said you got some great news. Why don't you tell me how your day was? Yeah.
My day was good. Well, speaking of the Eagles, because it's going to be, it's really monumental. My kids went down there at like 5 a.m. My nephew was like, no, y'all got to spend the night. You got to stay out there, the night before. But they got out there at 5 a.m., dropped the kids off. They was right
The art museum?
Yeah.
Oh, there's at the art museum. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
they was on the art museum, and then they even like shook the Jalen Hurts in them hand, and it was like real cool. Yeah,
fantastic.
Yep. Okay. Nephews, cousins, everybody was out there. Everybody except me, unfortunately. I was home with the grandkids,
No.
but I was cheering them on. Was you out there?
I was out there.
Okay.
I was further down, closer to the stadium, though.
Okay.
I was on like
what time you get there?
I was there at like 7 o'clock in the morning. About 7 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to make sure to beat all the crowds and make sure I found parking. That was the biggest thing, the parking piece.
Yeah, that's
trying to
why
find
you had
parking.
to do public. You had to do public
And
transportation.
that was a headache.
Yeah. Well, it was free.
Yeah. Shout out to Kevin Hart. I heard Kevin Hart. Right?
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah, shout out to Kevin. Give a round of applause to Kevin Hart.
That was sweet though. That was good
for
look out.
sure,
Yeah. And a write off. Great write off.
Yeah, how about that? Give a round of applause. Now, when you have money, you know how to make sure you keep your money.
Yeah. Did you ever see? It's a show called a movie, not a show. It's a movie called it was with Richard Pryor. Oh man, it escapes me. His uncle gave him all his money. He had to spend it, but he couldn't tell everybody that he spent it.
Ah, okay.
I was about to say Fairly Real Day Off. That's not it. But it's an 80s movie.
Okay.
And somebody in the comments tell us what the name of the movie is.
Right. She's trying to find out the movie, y'all.
But the thing is that when you talked about money, when you have so much, I'm talking not on the, the other rich. I'm talking about on wealthy rich. It is something that you don't even want to see after a while. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like Richard Pryor, when he was a little kid, he was found in a shed smoking cigarettes. His father said, "You want to smoke cigarettes?" He bought him a case of cigarettes and said, "Until you smoke every last one, you can't come out."
This was in a movie?
Yeah, you never seen it? Richard Pryor movie? Oh,
I think
man.
you're talking about, is that Brewster's Millions?
Brewster's
Millions?
Yes.
That is
That's
it.
it.
Brewster's
Yes.
Millions.
That's
All right,
how
I
it
got
started
yeah,
off.
for
So
sure.
then
Okay,
an uncle of his, it was actually a white uncle who came into all his money and said, "You want to be rich? All right, I'm going to give you this amount. You got to spend it. Can't make no money from it, and then you'll be able to get this amount." You know what I mean?
Shout
So
out to
it
him.
was, like I said, I think it was an early 80s movie, but up there with,
Yeah.
I talk about it just because when
Oh,
you
my
got so
baby
much
girl.
money.
Okay, baby girl jumped on.
Okay,
She
that's
said
what's
Brewster's
up.
Millions.
Brewster's Millions.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Tell her to fact check who was the first female rapper.
All right, baby girl, listen. Fact check who was the first female rapper.
Yeah, we need to know.
I don't think it was Lady P, though.
I love me some Roxanne Shante, but I really think that or maybe the first one with the album. I don't know, but I don't know if it was Roxanne Shante. Like she definitely got a lot of
with a click. It could have been. I forgot the guy who was with Busy B. I'm talking about the first noted.
All right, well,
I don't know. What baby girl gonna check it? So
all right, cool.
That's cool. All right, so no doubt. All right, that's good.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
give you a round of applause for that. So are you ready for good news?
I'm
Dennis?
ready.
All right, give it to me early.
All right, so I know y'all heard about this one. This is a 24-year-old Adrian, I don't want to butcher his name, Samankis. He was kayaking with his father in Chilean. Basically, out of nowhere, a humpback whale spotted them, and unexpectedly, he swallowed them and spit him out.
That was funny.
If you know the Bible, that's what happened with Jonah.
Yeah.
He swallowed him and spit him out. The kayaker was unharmed. The entire incident was on video by his father, who kept telling his son to to stay calm, and then they both returned to land safely. Yeah,
okay.
but
Yeah.
he was out there kayaking, and then out of nowhere, a humpback whale. He even said it in his interview. He was like, if he would have got hit by the whale, he would have had more injury.
Yeah.
And it happened so fast, he didn't even get a chance to really get scared.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's almost like when you close your eyes, can you see your eyelids? Like, I pictured it may be like that.
What?
Like,
Okay.
I don't know. What do you see in a whale of a mouth? I mean, whale of a mouth. In the mouth of a whale. Like,
Yeah.
what can you see?
Nothing.
Right. Nothing. Right. But you in him, you got his tongue. You're on his tongue. You know, like, did the breath smell? Like, you know, did
It was too.
like,
He probably wasn't in there like, "Hi, this is amazing."
Right, no.
What's that? I'm sure he wasn't doing that.
No, but just
Yeah.
I'm glad him and his father are safe though.
Yeah,
But
no doubt.
that just shows that anything unexpected can happen in the wilderness, and let them have their land. Let them, or that's, you know, it's water, but it's their habitat.
Yeah.
So when I said land, I'm talking about
Yeah,
that's their
we
habitat.
got you.
All right, the next one was, has anybody been feeling sick lately? The CDC estimates that 29 million people have been diagnosed with the flu. About 300, now I said 29 million people. 370,000 of those people have been hospitalized, and there are 16,000 deaths nationwide. Because of the flu, it's widespread. Health officials urge everyone at least 12 months and older to get the annual flu vaccine to reduce the risk of severe illness and complications. As we all know, flu symptoms can range from severe, from mild to severe, including fever, chills, cough, sore throat, muscle aches, and fatigue. The best way to stay protected is get your vaccination, wash your hands frequently, and cover your cough when you sneeze or your mouth when you cough. So, and stay home when you're sick.
Stay home. Yeah.
that
Wear a
part.
mask. Stay home.
Like, oh, I had to come to work. I went to church. Wherever you're going, don't nobody want you there if you're gonna be sneezing and sniffling. They're like, you think that you're doing them a good thing, but you're doing them a disservice.
Yeah. Okay.
For more information on that, you can always go to cdc.gov at their website.
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure.
This next story, goodness, I'm not upset at this. Others may
Gotta be about Trump.
It's,
Gotta
oh
be about
wow!
Trump.
See, is it? I mean, what? No,
No, go ahead.
you're
No.
making it sound like I'm like
No, not at all. Not
on
at
the
all.
bandwagon of Trump.
No,
like, I don't.
no,
I don't think what he's doing is.
I'm gonna just say this. Every time you get right, that's how you preface it. That's how I know.
So you say you know me.
I know. Every time you get ready to talk
man,
about
this-
him, you say that.
Okay.
But no, go ahead. I'll give you a round of applause.
No,
for you right
don't
there.
give me
Go
no
ahead.
round. I don't want your applause. The Trump administration faces multiple lawsuits. So 8 federal inspector generals have filed a lawsuit seeking reinstatement, alleging their removals violated laws designated to protect their independence.
Hold on. Say that again.
Federal inspectors have filed a lawsuit seeking reinstatement because he fired 8 federal inspector generals.
Okay. All right.
They're saying that there were laws to protect them, and they didn't have that covering them before they got fired.
Okay.
2 transgender teenagers are challenging executive orders that ban trans women and girls from participating in school sports, claiming unconstitutional discrimination.
Yeah.
I don't think what if you were born a man, autonomically or anatomically, there it is. Anatomically, you're not set up like a woman, and you have different advantages just like women do over men in certain things. Then how are you going to? That's not fair.
That's probably the one thing I do agree with.
Yeah, he said
I
you
agree with
can't
that.
play in those type of or any sports. That's not fair.
Yeah, I think to be equitable though, we can open up some I guess organized sports specific to that particular demographic.
Okay, yeah,
I'll
like,
be open
but
to
they
that,
they have it where you're talking about where it's unisex, where it's like
Oh yeah,
a
if you call
unisex-
it that, yeah.
That's what that would be.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you were born gender male, then anatomically to be on a team of just women going against women, like no.
Yeah.
You put them, let them fight each other.
Yeah,
Come
no,
on.
100%. I
Testosterone,
Yeah.
progesterone, estrogen. I mean,
I got you.
I don't know what's wrong with my mouth
No,
today.
it's
I
all
need
good.
to do some exercises. All right.
Pause.
All right, look.
But what
Yo!
I will say this though.
What?
I choose not to speak on women positions or women issues, but it's good to hear a woman's perspective.
I'm all woman.
I got you. But I'm just saying it's good to hear a woman's perspective when it comes to this, as opposed to men just talking about this. You know.
Yeah,
So
I don't.
like that you.
Yeah, I don't
like
think
this.
that men, or if you're born male, that you should be able to compete in those competitive sports because it's not it's not a fair playing field.
Okay.
That's
no
it,
doubt.
and that's all.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's it. That's all.
The Trump administration is being sued over directives to terminate probationary federal employees and for its stance on immigration enforcement, including actions against New York State policies. The DOJ,
Wow.
Department of Justice, has removed numerous DOJs and FBI officials. The DOE, the Department of Education, at least 160 recent hires have been terminated. President Trump expressing intentions to dissolve the department entirely. Are they going to get rid of our student loans then? Because Biden already told us, and some people, I'm not even going to hold you, some people were able to get theirs for the public service loan agreement thing. I was one of the people who put mine in, and
You didn't get it?
well, the only reason I didn't, because Mohila, and this is facts. This is not something. This is factual things. Mohila is now under litigation because they were getting so many in that they were like deleting files and removing some because it was too many to handle.
Oh my
And
God.
I was one of the people that they may have gotten rid of that file. So I'm upset
Hold on,
about
wait.
that.
They got rid of your file for
Yes.
student loans?
People who submitted, it was so many things that were submitted for the public service loan thing,
Right.
and because it was overwhelming, they couldn't handle it. A lot of those were there were discrepancies. I'll say that.
So they
let me
started
retract it.
deleting the applications. is
I'll
what you're
say
saying.
discrepancies.
Okay, I got
And
it.
now they had to get everything over back to the federal student aid in order for them to handle it.
Oh wow.
So,
Okay.
but then a lot of things have changed since the new administration. All right. This last, oh, wait, here's a twist to that one, though. President Trump has expanded a $10 billion lawsuit against CBS News. He's alleging that election interference related to a 60 Minutes interview. So he is suing CBS for how much did I say?
Jeez,
Let's see if you were paying attention.
I wasn't.
$10 billion.
Jeez.
$1 billion on the elevator. He's on 10 of them elevators.
Wow.
Because he said CBS interfered, interference related to a 60 Minutes interview. So now y'all need to go check out the 60 Minutes interview.
Is that true?
According to his allegations.
No, I got you. Yeah, they're going
Yeah.
to research it, no doubt.
Yeah. All right. Last thing. Philadelphia made another historical imprint.
That's right. That's right. Shout out to there you go.
All right. They won the 59th Super Bowl.
Yeah.
59. All right. That means for anything before 59. What was this? Was there a Super Bowl before 59 years?
I'm sure.
If this
Probably
is,
wasn't organized.
oh, yeah. Okay.
Probably wasn't organized. This one.
All right. So they had over a million people attending their Eagles parade on February 14th at the Art
did.
Museum. The city celebrated while fans filled the streets from South Philly to the Art Museum. It was further than South Philly.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
it
no,
was.
for sure.
Yeah. You should have took your drone out there. What happened to that?
We looking at it.
Oh, yo, you took.
Yes,
See?
sir. We took a good round of applause.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. All right, go
That's
ahead.
what's up.
Yeah,
All right.
we took the drone out. We got some dynamic footage as you see. Go
Yes.
ahead.
All right.
That's
So
what
as we
looking
spoke about earlier today about Kevin Hart, a Philly native, die hard for his city. He and his company, Tequila Company, gave back to the city by giving free rides through SEPTA. The SEPTA rides they had to be on the route going to the parade. He also gave extravagant gifts to the Eagles offensive linemen. He collaborated with Saquon Barkley with that, and Bud Light with truckloads of beer to each starting lineman. Here's some bad news about that. Sadly, we thought that there were going to be, no hinges or anything, but there was some violence there. A 27-year-old woman and her boyfriend attempted to cut through a porta potty line, and someone in the crowd punched the man, setting off a fight. And then a gun was fired.
Oh, God.
So a woman was shot in her calf, while another 20-year-old bystander was shot in the thigh. They both were taken to Presbyterian Hospital, where they're both in stable condition and fine. And all of this is according to Philadelphia Police Commissioner Frank Venor. Okay. Also, now I don't know. This story is a little weird because everybody loved the general manager Howie Roseman for the Eagles, but he took a forehead gash after being struck by a beer can that was thrown from the crowd. Although he was injured, he started yelling. Roseman yelled to the fans, I bleed for this city.
You're
Why he
right.
had a cut on his head.
That's what's up.
Yeah, but unfortunately, there were some politicians that were up there that the crowd started throwing cans and stuff at. I don't know. Yeah, they showing some dislike towards some of the politicians that are in our city.
Yeah, I think I actually got that on tape when they started throwing the cans. I'll try to locate that footage.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know why they were out there. They shouldn't have been there. Period. Right.
Oh, you know they gonna have to.
I know they got.
everybody got
It's always a photo op. That's my problem with it. Right. Always a photo op. But shout out to the Eagles. Go Birds.
Yeah.
Man.
Now I would
Shout
have
out to
respected it. Like, let's just say somebody would have, one of them would have been like, "Look, let me go over Gillies," like, you know what I mean, before they won. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you was there before the struggle and showing that you was down, then it would be like, okay, but you just only come as soon as the accolades and stuff are there. It doesn't make it as strong.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, this is some great footage.
Yeah, man. That's
Wow.
Yeah, we was able to get down there, get the drone out, cover some of the things, make sure.
Oh, this is excellent.
Yeah, so that was good. Shout out Baby Girl. Baby Girl was like, yo, I was at the parade, fly, Eagles fly.
Mm-hmm, she was.
You gotta love the Eagles, man.
I mean, everybody layered up. Did you layer up?
I did layer
Yeah.
up. I had on a whole bunch of layers because my hands was cold flying the drone and all that. But it was a good look.
You supposed to get the gloves with the no fingers.
I know. I got to.
And then you could put the tips back
Definitely gotta
on.
get some of them.
Yeah. But that was some great footage.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. We had a good time down there. We had a good time down there.
So did you stay for the speeches?
No, see, I was in South Philly.
Oh.
I didn't go to. I didn't go down to the art museum.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I wouldn't have been able to make it there on time. The traffic, they had everything cut off, which
Yeah.
was a problem. All in all, though, I thought this was good news. You want to talk about somebody getting hit in the leg and all this other kind of stuff.
No,
punched
it
in
was
the face.
still good news,
Yeah,
but we
I-
still got to show Philly is who they are.
Yeah, Philly. We
Y'all
love
need
Philly.
to stop.
Like it is what
Over
it
a
is. Philly.
porta potty.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on.
Look, man, we hold grudges. You know what I'm saying? If you and this somebody asked me this, all right?
Mm-hmm.
If you was with the Eagles or any Philadelphia team and we loved you, right?
Right.
If you went to another team,
Oh, that's it.
it's curtains.
That's it.
We
Yeah.
hold grudge.
I mean, Andy
brotherly
Reid.
grudge. Brotherly grudge. We hold grudges. yeah.
Andy Reid is a prime example.
Yeah, we don't mess with Andy Reid like that. I want to find did you see it was the voodoo lady?
Oh, that was crazy.
I need to find the voodoo lady, have her come over.
That was crazy.
If you're watching, anybody know the voodoo lady, send her to We Talk.
I don't want her here.
I do.
Listen.
I would bring her. I do.
I mean, I know how she was sticking him home, but that woman, I'm good. She might look at me and be like, "I'll make one of you." I don't want her.
No doubt, no
Well,
doubt.
she could. Y'all bring her on. I'll just wait in the bathroom when she done after talk
Yeah,
to
for
her,
sure,
and
for
then
sure.
I'll come out.
No doubt, no doubt.
I'm good.
All right, no. Is that good news or
Oh, that
bad
was
news?
your good news and your bad news from your girl, Classy Lady.
All right, that was good news and bad news for Classy Lady Sparkle. When we come back, we got a dynamic interview. I don't want you guys to go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. I'm going to you.
We just want to get a little background as to who the Fantastic Noise is and the noisemakers. If you can let us know.
Yes, absolutely. So once again, I am Fantastic Noise. I am the original noisemaker, so no one's going to make as much noise as me, okay? And right here we have the Noisemaker Band. This is only half of it. The other stuffs are upstairs. My Kevin Lamar, Lonnie, and Dobbs, who are the actual band members. These are the background singers. And we came to make some noise. We came to bring that noise today. So that's what we try to do. That's it.
right.
Yeah.
And how did you guys get together?
Oh man, so it started with, I've been doing this on my own for almost 3 years now. And man, I guess each of these people here have different background stories. Most of us went to the same church together and we just kept going. This one, her, this is one of my assistants here, one of like my biggest supporter, my biggest shooter here. She's an assistant. So we just been building, and the same thing with upstairs with the band, just meeting through people, kept networking, kept seeing, and it was just like God ordained. Bam, here we are.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, could you guys do We Talk Weekly a favor?
Yes.
Can you give us a drop in a melody type way?
Oh, a melody type way?
Yes.
Okay. So We Talk Weekly?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to do something like this. We Talk Weekly, come and hear us. We Talk Weekly, come and hear them. We Talk Weekly, come and hear them. We Talk Weekly, come and hear them. We Talk Weekly, come and
let the entire thing.
Listen, I was trying to fix something over here.
Can I give a disclaimer? I am only loud when I'm excited. Okay, I am not loud when I'm not excited, and that's emotion. So
Well, that was good.
yeah.
I really like that clip.
I don't like when I'm yelling
But
because
that's
I'm
the
not.
part. That's the passion of it.
I know, but I'm not in that mood. So it's like when I'm in that mood, it's okay. Like when you're at the Eagles, you screaming like,
Yeah, that's why I'm hoarse right now. But it's
Right.
okay. It's okay. So you had that passion. I loved it. And you know what else I love?
What?
The interviews.
Yes.
Great transition. So let us know who do we have today. Who do we have today?
Absolutely. See, today we have John Claris. He's the executive director of North 10 Philadelphia, leading community transformation in the Huntington Park, East Tioga area. With over 25 years in education and nonprofits, he co-founded Dream Charter School, served as a principal, and worked in the U.S. Department of Education. A Harvard Ed LD graduate, and he lives with his wife, Amy, and their 17-year-old twins, Gabrielle and Louise. Let's give a warm We Talk Weekly welcome to Josh Claris.
Round of applause. How are you, my friend? How are you?
Pleasure to be here.
Oh man, we're excited to
Awesome.
have you here. Yes, absolutely. So let's the first thing we do when we start these interviews, we ask how your day was. So how was your day? How was your day?
I had a wonderful day. Wonderful day
fantastic.
today. No, it's a great time to be in Philadelphia.
Yes, a round of applause to that right there.
All right, so you Eagles fan. He paused. See, he paused.
Did you pause?
I did pause.
Wait,
Yeah,
hold on.
I am a Philadelphia fan. I love the city.
Hold
Wait.
on, I gotta. I'll let you continue. Yeah, it's all good.
we should start right away. I'm a born and raised New Yorker. So my whole family's here. I've come, but you fall in love with a South Jersey girl and you come to Philadelphia. We've been here for about 8 years and I am very much a fan of my adopted home.
Interesting.
Okay.
That's even.
So is it Giants? Who's your New York?
My New York football team is the Giants.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay.
I know.
That's
But,
even a double.
He told me he did us a favor.
He said, "You're welcome." Okay. Gave us
Okay.
Saquon. And then, jeez. Okay.
No, sorry.
It's okay.
It's a great time. It was a fabulous game.
Yeah.
City was awesome.
Okay, fantastic. So, since let's start there. You left New York, right? And shout out to you. You went to Harvard.
I did. I got my doctorate at Harvard.
Wow,
in
doctorate
education.
in Harvard. How was that during that time?
Yeah.
Because Harvard is known to be so intense, right? How was that?
I had a wonderful experience. I was at the Graduate School of Education in a doctoral program called the EDLD program.
Okay.
I was with 25 or 24 other wonderful people, an incredibly diverse group of brilliant educators from around the country. And it was for practitioners. So it wasn't research. I'm not that kind of doctor, but we were real people who wanted to get back into the work world and make a difference.
Right.
Really transform the education sector, what's right for our kids.
So since we're there, what
Yeah.
was the importance, or what was it in you that kind of triggered, I want to get in education and amplify the knowledge that these these kids, these youth, these researchers, the youth of the generation, what made you think of that,
Yeah, well, so I entered education back in the early 1990s. I was a Teach for America Corps member. I actually, like I said, I was born and raised in New York, but I got the great opportunity to teach kindergarten in southern Louisiana in a little teeny town called Amelia, Louisiana, in St. Mary Parish. And it was a transformative experience for me. It was this unbelievable place where about 50% of the folks living there were Vietnamese descent. And I really got activated thinking about immigrants and bilingual education. And the path that kids take coming into the country and having to be part of a school system that's very unfamiliar from them, foreign actually, and then spent the next 20 years of my life just kind of doing what I thought was right for kids. I taught I was an assistant principal in the South Bronx, and I was part of an amazing organization in East Harlem, and that's where I started the charter school that you mentioned in the beginning, Dream Charter School. Really committed to wraparound services to kids. And like a holistic set of services, community schools type of model that people might have heard of, and then then went to Harvard from there.
Are those in like unrepresented communities? A lot of them.
Yeah, all of them were. So I taught from the start in Louisiana, at a very poor little rural town in southern Louisiana, to East Harlem and Chinatown in New York City. And now where I'm here in Philadelphia is the Hunting Park, East Tioga section of North Philadelphia. And while I don't work in the school system right now, we have a large out-of-school time program and serve about 115, 120 youth and make sure that they are ready for college and a career after high school.
I always say educators are the Super Bowls we should have for. Like, you know what I mean? Like, those are the real heroes.
They're the
So
best.
thank you for what
My
you
colleagues
do.
who do. Thank you, and my colleagues here in the Philadelphia school system are just people who I admire so much. And shout out to my colleagues at Bethune Elementary School. That's our local
Bethune.
school there.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
shout out to
Yeah.
Bethune,
Dang,
yeah.
I ain't here Bethune.
Yeah, no doubt.
They're the best.
Yeah, sure. You know, we had someone here. As you know, a lot of the reason we do our show is to kind of amplify those voices who are doing some great work in the community, right? Which you are one of them. And we had someone here that was very interested in amplifying teacher voices, but also showing the disparities of support when it comes to not only financial support but even classroom, right?
Absolutely.
In classroom.
That's right.
And so I want to I want to start there and go into what do you think that the challenge is that's lacking, that needs for the teachers to get or earn the support that they need? Because I feel like they already earned it, right?
They did. So I'm going to have my perspective on this, which is a very, from my own experience, I think that what we know from research is that the teachers are the most important resource that our kids
100%.
have, and how our teachers get supported is the utmost importance. Yeah. And for me, though, the position at the school that does the most to support teachers is the principal. And if we kind of invest in that role to make sure that our principals are equipped with the resources to make sure that our teachers have what they need.
Right.
If we look at what's going on, teachers leave schools because the principals are not good. Teachers aren't successful because they're not getting, when we talk about support, right? What do we need in our classrooms? Whether or not it's money, whether or not it's guidance counseling, whether or not it's behavior supports, whether, whatever it is, parent engagement. Right. We look at that principal as the person who kind of surrounds the school and makes it happen. And so from my experience in the Department of Education, as well as my own research and my experience as a principal in New York City, I know just the power of that position as an instructional leader and also an operational leader. It's something of a small business, each one of these schools.
Now, I heard you say Department of Education. You know my next
I
question.
know. I was-
I have to
yeah.
ask. Okay, because it was a part of Good News, Bad News.
Yep.
Tell us your thoughts.
Yeah.
And I say that so general because if I ask a question, you're only going to answer my question I'm asking. So I want to know, what are your thoughts on the whole part of the Trump administration and the DOE?
Just a light question there.
Yes.
I am nervous. I'm afraid for our children, particularly our children who haven't gotten the resources that they have always deserved, right? The inequity in our schools, from teacher training to the amount of resources that our school has, is just, it's to me, it's abominable in this country. And the Department of Education was one of the main levers to fight that, to fight back. It was, from the lawyers and the Civil Rights Department at the Department of Education to the student loans that you mentioned, to Title I funding in our school for protection of our children who are speakers of second languages and coming in. All of their rights, we know they get kind of torn away if we don't pay attention to it. Funding for research and what's best practices and teaching of reading and teaching in math. All of it is so important, comes from what we get from the Department of Education. And so, I'm afraid for our kids.
So tell people like me, like in all of what you said, I have been a recipient of that. Like, FAFSA, Pell Grant, like different
All of it.
things but I also am a person who looks at, okay, let's look at pros and cons. What the Doge or what the Trump administration is showing, that billions of dollars have been given to the Department of Education, and millions and billions of that money has not reached the allocation of where they are supposed to. They're saying that the money hasn't been allocated appropriately. And it sounds like they're trying to say, hey, the money is not going to stop. The money is just going to be given to the states so they can allocate for these exact same programs. So you'll still get these programs. We're just going to make it on a more of a state level.
So it's always been that way. I think that's part of what is the misunderstanding. None of the Department of Education, federal Department of Education finances go directly to schools. It always goes through states. And the states are always the ones that allocate it from there. They have rules that they have to follow from the federal government, but it doesn't go directly to schools. It always goes through states. No one would argue that there isn't waste and bureaucracy.
Right.
Right.
True.
Department of Education is one of the smallest, if not the smallest, federal agency. Sure, it's waste, but it's not anywhere close to what these huge federal departments are. What we do know is that more kids do get educated today than what they did before. Department of
Absolutely.
Education, right? Special education in particular. Children
With
who don't speak
autism
English.
and-
Like
yeah,
all of these
immigrants,
resources
yeah.
that come in, these are children that were completely ignored before the Department of Education came in. So to say that that funding hasn't been incredibly important to make sure that our most vulnerable aren't protected, to me is just another one of these flares that is going up to distract us, right? If we all know that we need to be more efficient. President Trump is not the first president to come in to say that we have to rail in or bring in the bureaucracy and the waste of federal money. There's nothing new. There's nothing original about that. What he is doing is he's playing on our fears of pulling people apart and, in my humble opinion, targeting the most vulnerable in a divide and conquer type of way that is going to really ultimately hurt all of us in the end.
Yeah. Interesting. Since you say that, and we talk about the focus on the states, right? If we know this, and because we pride ourselves in focusing on solutions, right? If we know that this is what's going on, there's no reason to argue about it. It's going to happen. This guy is making things happen, right? So if we know this, then what can we do to make sure that we kind of protect our own within the states? What do we do?
Yeah, I'm going to use that as a segue. I wasn't prepared for this conversation as much, so I'm going to talk about what I'm But I honestly, I think it's why I do what I do today.
Yeah, for sure.
And, I am a believer that change comes locally.
Yeah.
Right. And the investment in our neighborhoods, particularly in a city like Philadelphia, is of the utmost importance. So what can we do?
Right.
We do have to activate ourselves and really think about what's going on in our neighborhoods and how we can get involved in our neighborhoods. And I've learned that, I feel like I knew that coming in here, but the people that I've met, the community leaders that I've met in Hunting Park and East Tioga have really kind of like drilled it in and helped me really understand that you can make a difference if you act locally, right? Even if, we were talking about our local politicians, like your vote matters in all of the local elections here, whether or not it's primaries or whether or not it's for your city council person, and all the other kind of local, but also read local news, listen to local radio, right? Like know what's going on in your backyard because we can do something about that. DC, not that far of a train ride, but miles and so far away in what we can control. Philadelphia, we have something that we can do about it. And so to me, thinking about what matters to you in your own backyard, making sure that you're involved, whether or not it's cleaning up your park, whether or not it's making sure that you're on the parent association at your local school, whether or not it's making sure that you're keeping your streets clean and dialing in 311. Whatever it is, act locally would be my mantra to that.
Fantastic. Because I think that's an excellent transition to start to, kind of pick your brain as it relates to civics, right?
Yep.
And the importance of civics. There's always this conversation of, is voting important? Yes, voting is important. Who gets to vote? But I think that there's other supporting factors as it relates to the conversation with civics to encourage people to even vote, but it starts kind of like you said within the organization. So I think that's a great opportunity to bring you in with respect to your organization. But, starting with when you think of civics, what does that mean to you and how can we all engage?
Well, that's a great question. To me, civics, as a person who's always lived in a city, civics is starts with being proud of the city that you're in and also using the public resources that the city has, from our public transportation and bus and trains to the public parks, to rooting for the local teams.
That's right.
It's all about what is there in front of you and how you participated. And as soon as we start pulling away from that and putting up our white picket fences and wanting to kind of suburbanize our city, then we're losing the core of who we are. We're separating ourselves. We're putting ourselves in cars and pretending that we live in a place where we don't live. Walking up and down the street saying good morning to your neighbor is an immensely important thing to do every single day. So they recognize you. So when your kids are going to school and they see, Mrs. Jones sitting on the porch and she's saying good morning, she's also going to see them coming home. And that's a way that we keep each other safe every single day. To me, that's civics. That is a community that gets built, that takes care of each other, that advocates for what's important to each other, and they have this bond. And that makes it feel like when you go vote or when you have some problem, that you're actually not alone in trying to solve it. You have a community behind you.
Yeah, fantastic. So real quick, so when we talk about your organization and North 10 and some of the things that you're doing, let's talk a little bit about that and how you guys are engaging and fighting a good fight, so to speak.
I appreciate that, and I think that's exactly what we're doing. I should start by saying that North 10's, at our core, our mission is to improve life outcomes of the people who live in the neighborhood that we serve, when that's Hunting Park in East Tioga. And if you're not familiar with North Philly, it's right around the Broad Germantown Erie intersection, right behind Temple Hospital and Hunting Park itself. And we do that. We actually operate a community center, the Lenfest Center, on North 10th Street, and that's where we get our name. And so we, like I said, we provide programs and services. Our flagship program is for our youth. We serve about 115 kindergarten through 12th graders 6 days a week. But we also provide workforce development programs, and we provide community services like a market that has about 400 households that we serve. And that way, and I would say that to the part of which we kind of build civics, we are really proud of the fact that we bring people together in our community service, in our community center, so that they feel connected to each other. We have an incredibly welcoming environment. Miss Maria is at the door every day, and everybody knows her, and she knows everybody. The team takes pride in knowing people's names, so it's not just kind of walking in and going to do the thing that you want to do. It's being part of a community, and we kind of breed that inside our community center.
Wow, fantastic!
So that's how we also have a saying that people are at the heart of what we do at North 10. And I think that just speaks highly. We look at people in the eye, we welcome them, and we get to know them, because when you're seeking help, it's hard and it's vulnerable. And it's hard to say that I need help, whether or not it's I need free food, or I need a free place for my kid to go to after school, or I need a better job. And you need to be able to trust the person that you're going to in order to make that change. Yeah,
and you're the executive director, and so what? How did North 10, evolve? Like, how did it become what it is today? Because everyone has a thought, like, I have this idea, but then it blossoms into something else. How did that happen?
It's actually a pretty cool story. We have the benefit, our founder, and continues to be our board chair, is Chase Lenfest. The Lenfest family is a very wealthy philanthropic family, an incredible family.
Shout out to them. That's why we're here today. For sure.
His father is a great advocate of local news. And Chase, through his philanthropy, built the Lenfest Center about 17 years ago. And to his credit, and even to the phrase, people at the heart of what he did, at the beginning it was kind of like you just build a building and things will get better. But buildings don't make people better, right? High quality programs that connect to people and inspire them and help them access a variety of programs make people better. And so just building things isn't good enough. We have to make sure that we really make those connections. And so Chase continues to be incredibly involved and an inspiration to us. It's his vision that has brought us together. It's his vision that not only built the community center, but then kind of about 8 years ago when I came on board, really pushed the organization to look outside the doors of the community center, to invest in other properties. And so last year we cut the ribbon on a 41-unit affordable housing apartment building.
Round of applause for that. That's major. Yes.
And what I'll really shout out is, as our next project is the transformation of a 100-year-old roller skating rink in the neighborhood called Carmen Gardens.
Carmen's.
Carmen's,
hold on. Wait.
We can talk about that.
Are you serious?
Absolutely.
Wow. So y'all remodel.
Is it still going to be a skating rink?
It's not going to be a skating rink.
Okay. All right.
Carmen's.
That's excited about that.
Gosh.
This Friday, February 21st, from 6 to 9 p.m., and please, everybody who's out there, we are hosting a Carmen Legacy skate party
Wow.
inside the Lenfest Center because Carmen Gardens is not prepared to do that.
Okay.
Everybody is welcome. You can go on our website at north10phl.org and scroll down a little bit,
wow.
and you can see the information on the skate party. Because it really is an incredibly important place.
I haven't
for the
heard
city
that
of
name.
Philadelphia.
Yes.
Wow.
No, it was Carmen because I used to skate there when I was
Right.
young. But it was Carmen and it was Elmwood.
Elmwood, right? In
So
Southport,
those was
yeah,
the two
yeah.
big skating.
And
Wow.
USA, well, the one up the
Oh,
road,
USA, yeah, USA,
that-
yeah, I forgot.
Yeah. So if you were there, you might remember Mr. Lloyd, or you might not, but he was the owner. He continues to be really connected to us, and he'll be there on Friday night.
Wow.
And we're gonna
Nice.
hopefully welcome in a lot of the Philadelphia skating. So it is a really important part of the history. What I will say is we did a lot of work at North 10 and to the kind of like the civic engagement and how North 10 works. We spent a lot of time talking to our neighbors about what to do in that site. And the truth is that everybody was like, we want a roller skating rink back. We want a roller skating rink back. And they also understand though that the roller skating wasn't thriving for reasons. That,
Right. For
sure.
and the
Right.
neighborhood needed other resources to really invest in what in what was needed. And we do know that North Philadelphia residents struggle with health disparities as bad as anybody,
sure.
right? And so we are partnering with the Greater Philadelphia Health Action, GPHA, to bring a full service comprehensive health center to the neighborhood that will provide primary care, behavioral health, pharmaceutical.
Awesome.
And it's
that's
just really
amazing.
exciting to that. At the same time, we are committed to holding on to the history of Carmen Gardens. And so we're having the skate party, we're collecting stories,
Excellent.
we're building an archive that will both
Wow.
be digital as well as physical. Once the health center is built, there'll be a physical kind of museum type of archive display in the lobby of the health center. So we can do both.
But you hear how our reaction was
Yep.
because it was something that was in that era of like, oh my gosh. And I think that what you're doing is going to bring it for this generation. But my question is that you talked about how community is, and that's a generation that I grew up. Like I knew not to do something on the street because I knew Miss Jones.
Yeah,
and
Miss
Mr.
Jones down the block.
Yes, they gonna see and they gonna tell your
right.
parent. Where do you see the challenges or what has changed on why we lost that? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it is a complex history, right? But the disinvestment in our neighborhoods has been real and has been traumatic. And we can go right back, to redlining and how people weren't able to purchase their homes, and driving, white Philadelphians and white urban, livers across the country to the suburbs, and that, you can have your opinion, purposely done, financially driven, however it works. But the truth is that it pulled resources out of the city. And then, we know that there is a huge, the issue of crack cocaine in our neighborhoods.
Wow.
And basically what it did is it created a sense of being unsafe, which continues to today. And so people aren't on their porches, or their porches are gated off, right? Because there isn't this sense, or you're afraid because you're afraid of say something wrong to somebody and they're going to do something. And so
Mind your own business type. Yeah.
Right. And so in my mind, that is a suburbanization, right? It means like, this is my backyard and that's your backyard. And in between we don't meet, but that's not city living. City living is communal living. I mean, look at Philadelphia yesterday. Right? I mean, we all came together.
Yes,
there were
we
no
did.
boundaries. We knew how to get together. We
No
knew,
color.
all of it, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that has been really lost in our neighborhoods, and I think we need to build that back. And there are the old heads, as they say, right, who know how to do it.
That's right.
Who are old part of it. And Mrs. Jones is still on her porch. She's just not as vocal because she's still trying to figure it out, But we can bring that back. I really do believe that, and I do think there's a lot of people in the city that believe that.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one of the things that it's interesting that you use the word Miss Jones, right? Because one of the things that I talk about a lot is those under-recognized voices, right, within the city, right? And we talk about let's talk about the mayor, let's talk about city council and state rep, but Ms. Jones is the one that knows all of the kids because they grew up with Ms. Jones that can go outside on a corner when it's about to be a big gang war and be like, I know you, y'all go back home.
That's right.
Yeah.
And all of them will disperse, Dad, Ms. Jones,
Right.
But
Yeah.
we don't give them those voices that's necessary, which is the reason why we actually created this platform to give those
That's right.
Underrecognized
They are
voice.
the
Yes,
most
absolutely.
important people in the
Yes,
city.
100%.
The block captains.
That's
you
right.
know,
That's right.
They are keeping it together. They are the ones that are on their porch and on the street
That's right.
still to stay and never left.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Yep.
they've been there forever.
That's right.
And they are the ones that need to get. To be lifted up.
That's
And
right.
So this platform, we have a great colleague in our neighborhood who formed an organization called You Are the Key.
Okay.
That really kind of holds up block captains and brings them together and gives them a forum to connect with each other, to learn from each other. That's Ms. Gail Pryor. And we have our other community leaders from the local RCOs that we work with. I'll give a shout out to Ms. Cynthia Barnes that runs the local RCO, which does, for decades has been the one at the forefront of zoning issues and reclaiming a park in the neighborhood. It's just immensely important. But you're right; those are the core to our neighborhoods.
That's
that need
right.
to be lifted up.
That's right, and that's why. And thanks for shouting them out. And I think they don't get the acknowledgement that they need. And you brought up the block captains. I actually attended. They have this big kind of like conference for just block captains. And I attended a few of them, right? And one in particular, I met this young lady who was the granddaughter. Is 3 generations of block captains. So her mother and grandmother were previously the block captains, and her grandmother is 100 years old.
It's amazing.
Yes,
That
it
is
was
amazing.
crazy. It blew my mind.
And
Yes.
I would say that there's something about that, right? That's generational wealth.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's not only kind of the wealth of knowing who you are and where you come from, but
That's right.
but they have a home, right? And that home was passed on. And that's the other thing that we lost in our urban centers. Like I can talk about the neighborhood that we serve, in which it's about a little over 50% home ownership in the city, and it's about a 30% in the neighborhood and going down. That's a big difference.
Yes.
You're
Right.
speaking facts.
Yes.
And that's a really significant issue in our neighborhoods, is that, and not all renters, but a lot of
for sure,
renters, they're kind of like fly by the night, right? They're coming in, they're coming out. But the homeowners, they pass down the wealth
Yes.
of the knowledge of the neighborhood and the wealth of the actual real estate.
That's
that
right.
is immensely important.
That's
Back
right.
in the day, there used to be a time. I remember. I grew up in Mount Airy, but my family grew up in North Philly in Southwest. And I remember at my grandmother's, it was a special day. Everybody had to come out and start cleaning. You had to wipe
right.
off. You had to clean
That's
stuff.
right.
I remember.
Paint the curb, all
yes,
that. Yep.
everybody.
Yep,
we
that's
had
right.
to get up and we had to go out and the whole block would be out there. I also remember when my grandmother would cook, she would say, "Oh, take this down to Mr. Burt, or take this plate down to Miss Biddy." I would have to take food
right.
to the places, and it wasn't that they didn't have food. She just cooked in abundance to say, "Here, I'm making this for them." And then even the kids that had camp, well, I made these brown bag lunches. So that's community,
It's
and that's
community.
what you're talking about.
It is exactly what I'm talking about. It's funny. So we live in Mount Airy, my wife and I, and my kids who are out in college. But the funny part is my family from New York was coming down to visit, and this was a couple of years ago. And our neighbor from across the street who had chickens in Mount Airy in Philadelphia, which to me was a shocking thing. Anyway, but that's another story.
Hey, Papo!
But she came over with a dozen eggs and dropped it off at our front porch.
Wow.
And my family was like,
Where they do this
What
thing,
is
right?
that?
Yeah.
Like, we're like, no, that's Misha across the street. She's bringing us the eggs from her chicken for
Right.
chickens, and we're gonna have
Amazing.
them. And that's community.
That's
Yeah.
that's
And
community.
It was
Yeah.
just beautiful and lovely, and it's part of what I love about Mount Airy. And
Now,
the city.
you grew up in New York because in Philly we had Fishman, we had
Fish-
Fruitman,
The Hat Man. The Hat
yes,
Man.
but they would come down the blocks and they would be like, Fishman, Fishman.
Yeah.
Your grandmother, your mom, whoever would come out and get fish off the truck. You would get
right.
your vegetables off. You didn't even have
right.
to go to the market because they would be on the block.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and I know we live in a new world, but those
There's
are
something
times.
wonderful about
Yes.
that. Right?
Yeah.
So I would say that, to those, our commercial corridors can absolutely kind of replace that, right? You
Right.
go down the street, and again, a couple shout outs, but like on the Germantown Avenue commercial corridor,
Please
where
do.
North 10 is, there's King of Pizza. That was all. It's just
King
like
of Pizza,
it's
yeah.
the best pizza
Yeah.
in the city. Even as a New Yorker, it's the best pizza, right? But you could, my understanding of that block for the people that I've gotten to know from the neighborhood would walk down that block. It's where they would do their shopping,
Right.
and it was all local business owners, and similar to the porches and the houses was the local business owners you got to know. And I was in King of Pizza just the other day, and
Wow.
it was right after school
amazing.
got let out, and a few of the kids came in. And I can and they're like, "Can we get a piece? Can we get a slice?" And he
Yeah.
looks at the three of them, and he rolls his eyes, and he
Here,
goes,
take
he
it.
goes and share it.
Yeah.
And he says to them, he gives them this slice of these things, and it's for the three of you guys share it. And they're like, "Okay, thank you." And they ran out,
that's
and
funny.
it was just like that scene of being. But so no, there's no carts on the streets and all that. But I think that our commercial corridors could
Yes, it
absolutely
was
be that.
Pasquale's for me.
Yeah.
Pasquale's right there on sitting there.
And in New York, a lot of that had been gone even by the time I was growing up. But we did have the Mr. Softy truck. that
Yeah,
could come
okay,
by.
yeah. So, yeah, no doubt.
That's
no doubt.
originating from Philly. Did you know?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Amorosos?
What about it? Yeah,
That's a Philadelphia.
No, that I know. No,
Tasty
that I know.
cake?
Yeah, no, that I know. I've been well schooled, so that I do.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. The cheesesteak.
The real
They argue
cheesesteak,
real
not
cheesesteak. They
your
argue about that.
Jews.
No, but see, we're not even going to talk about those. I
Geno's
call them
okay.
the tour specials.
Yeah,
we don't talk
yeah.
about the tour special. We talk about like Max's and the real
Right, yeah,
one. you
well,
know.
that's, and Max's is right down the block from us.
See,
so
there you
shit,
go.
yeah, that's
you
fabulous.
know,
That's
right?
absolutely-
And so, because you talk about Erie Avenue, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. That's a
Yep.
shout out to Erie. Yep.
Shout out to you.
And so,
Black and Nobel.
yeah, for sure. It's just, having this conversation with you is just, to a degree tickles me, right? Because the reason, and I always say this, the reason why we created this show was we quickly knew that there were people who were really doing the work in Philadelphia and were not getting the platform to talk about the things that they were doing, right? And we would have people come in and say, well, I don't know where to get this, and I don't, what? Well, we know Miss Johnson right down the street. She just, make sure you watch the show, right? And when we talk about, because there's always, especially in the media ecosystem, there's this this untalked about competition, right? And for someone like us, we can't compete with Legacy. But when we talk about hyperlocal, they can't compete with us.
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
So we're in the street. So we continue to, we don't work. It's people for them, but it's people for us, right? And so that's why we constantly focus on this hyper-local conversation and news that's actually happening in the street every day, that we're in these spaces and being able to have the conversation to amplify. So that's what we get excited
I think it's
about. Yeah, for
absolutely
sure.
really, really important. I would, just to connect a couple parts of the conversation. So I do think all the stuff with the federal government, Department of Education, all of that is immensely important.
Yeah.
But our school district of Philadelphia
That's
needs
right.
our support.
That's right.
Or your local school principal, what goes on around the block is really what we should be paying attention to. And they're not reporting that on CNN.
That's right. That's
or,
right.
even ABC News and all those national or the New York Times. And the Inquirer gets it right, and really Philly needs to just kind of continue to invest
That's right. That's right.
locally.
I have one more
Yeah,
question.
no, for
Yeah.
sure.
Tell us about your twins, your
Yeah.
wife.
Yeah.
Give us a brief over
Yeah, I
that.
gotta,
Yes.
actually, I'm very proud to be able to do that. I should say that they're not 17; they're 21 now. So we got to.
Wow.
They legal now.
17 to 21 is a huge difference.
It is a
Yes.
huge difference, and they are wonderful. They're now juniors in college. The hardest part is that my son is studying abroad in Madrid. My daughter goes to school out in California, and so we don't see them. But I love them dearly. and
Oh,
they're
so
great.
So they're fraternal.
They're fraternal
And
twins.
boy,
Oh,
girl.
wow.
They are
Wow.
fraternal twins.
Oh,
Right,
wow.
right.
Wow.
I think that's the next guest. And so, this was an amazing conversation. And so, when you talk about, when we talk about them seeing the work that you're doing, right? Did any of them say, I want to, Dad, I love what you're doing. I want to do what you do. Or they like, look, Dad, I don't care what you do. I'm doing my own thing. How was that?
Yeah, I would say it's neither of those things. So
Okay,
I think
alright.
that what I'm most proud about my kids is that they are their own individuals, so even as twins, right? And boy and girl twins, but they've gone their own paths. They have real distinct thoughts, and so they've been incredibly respectful for both my wife, wife Amy, who's the best, and they have an incredible amount of respect for her work as she's a management and strategic consultant, to my work in terms of nonprofits and education.
Oh, fantastic,
They
yeah.
are that, but my daughter is a civil engineer.
Ah.
And my son's a computer science major.
Believe it or not, y'all kind of in the
No,
same.
they're going to make a difference in the world.
Yeah,
in their
for
own
sure,
way.
for sure.
And I think that's what we dream of as a parent, right?
Yeah,
they get
for
to
sure.
have their own passions. They get to do the things, and wherever it takes them in life, they'll figure that out.
Yeah.
But they're working hard. They got really good work ethic, and they're good kids.
Fantastic. Well, kudos to you. Kudos to you and the family. Is there anything else that you would love to tell you know, the community about like your work and some of the things that you do? And can you let everyone know how they can get in contact with you and find out more about you and all that good old stuff?
Well, yeah, I'm going to focus on Carmen Gardens. I really think
I
that
love
we're
that,
really proud of
yes.
it. So this coming up Friday, February 21st, 6 to
we're gonna try to pop up, yeah.
9 p.m.
Yes.
At the Lenfest Center on North 10th Street. We are hosting a celebration Carmen Legacy skate party. So please go to our website at north10phl.org. Scroll down a little bit and you can see all the information. Please buy tickets in advance so that we know how many people are coming.
Sure.
We're getting pizza from King of Pizza. You can get
Oh,
that
nice.
comes with the cost of entry. And if you want to skate and really feel the great vibe, because the history of
Hold
it
on,
is
so
a
we
community.
still have a skating ring there?
No,
So we're rebuilding our own skating rink inside our community center.
Okay.
Carmen Gardens is not in condition, so we're
Right, for
having
sure.
the skate party inside our community center.
Interesting.
center.
Okay.
So yeah,
In
we're not
honor
able
of
to
Carmen.
in honor of
So do you have
Carmen.
any pictures of the people who used to skate there? Like, do you have?
We have a ton of them.
Yeah.
We even have the old
Fantastic,
disco
yeah.
ball.
Oh,
to
man,
put
they
up
got
there.
round
We
of
have-
applause.
we gotta try to make it.
Yeah,
We
we
have
gonna
all the skates. You must have had them with the brown and the orange.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh
We got
yeah.
those.
We call them the brownies.
Exactly right. And so we have those, but they're not the ones you're going to be
Yeah,
using
for
on
sure.
Friday night.
I
We're
got
getting
you, I
real
got you.
ones.
I know.
But yeah, so it's a legacy party in honor of the history.
Oh, fantastic. So is it a press conference or what?
No. It's
Just-
simply it's like a Friday night skate party. Like,
Okay.
like my understanding is that's what they used to have
Yeah.
at Carmen.
Yes.
is Friday night skate party. The only thing that I will add to it is if you're 13 or under, you need an adult with you.
Got you, yeah.
The ticket prices are $25, $12.50 for kids if you're under 13 or 13 and under.
And what's
Please,
included with
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Skates.
You get the skates, you get pizza, popcorn.
Oh, that's
things like
worth
that.
it.
It should be, and hopefully, really, what you get is you get an understanding of what the history was and you connect with the
Absolutely.
community.
Yeah. We'll make sure we'll post this on the site.
That'd
Make
be
sure you
wonderful.
don't forget. We'll post that on the site.
And if you follow us on Instagram, N10_PHL, we are posting a lot of the old pictures of Carmen.
Wow.
So they are going up there, and so people can see them. And what I will say is just go to the website, and you can reach out to info@, north10phl.org. If you have a story and you want to tell it, we'll put you in touch with the person who you can talk to. We'll record it. We're working with archivists to really try to figure out how to keep this history
Wow.
alive. So it
Y'all
doesn't
have
go-
Thank
to
you
put
for
together
doing
a
that,
doc. Y'all have to put together a doc for Carmen, documentary. That'd be amazing. Yes.
We would love to.
Yeah,
we would love
yeah,
to.
yeah,
The truth is like to be an archivist is a whole skill.
Yeah, no, it is.
So we're just
Yeah.
learning how to do that, but we're starting with the collection.
Yeah, good,
but I
good.
think you're right. A documentary would be.
Yeah,
wonderful.
I'll put you in touch with somebody.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd
That'd
love
be
it.
amazing. Well, kudos. Another round of applause.
Thank
this
you.
was a
I
really
great.
enjoyed
Yes,
this.
Appreciate
yes.
it.
I didn't anticipate all of the historical because this is institutional knowledge and you're archiving Philadelphia history. Everyone thinks of here we go with the legacy stuff, but everyone thinks, oh, let's go see the Liberty Bell. Let's go see Independence Hall, Old City. We're talking about true.
People
Local.
history.
Yes,
Absolutely.
people history that moved what we know. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good memory. I can see it in your eyes.
Yes.
You're going back there.
Yes, yes,
That's
yes.
exactly what it should be.
Yeah, because they just did finish the documentary with Booker, Sid Booker. He
Oh,
passed
yeah,
away.
right.
Right up there, right up the block from you guys, you know. And that was another, historic, monumental person in the community. He was a pillar in the community.
Yes.
So you're talking about historical knowledge, which is amazing. But I'd like to thank you for coming to the show.
pleasure. It's wonderful.
One more time, how can they get in contact with you and find out more
Yep,
information?
so my name is Josh Claris. I'm the executive director of North 10 Philadelphia. You can go to north10phl.org or email us at info@north10phl.org.
Absolutely. One thing we say on the show is once you come to the show, you're a friend to the show, so you're always welcome to come back. Any needs, any video visuals you need, let us know and we'll come out. That's what we do. We love the community. We'll come out and we'll do what we do.
We'll see you Friday, hopefully.
Absolutely. Round of applause. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
We're going back to me.
Yeah, we're going back to you.
My commercial.
Yeah, your commercial.
Okay. All right. Yeah, play it. I'm ready for it.
All right.
I'm hyped now. I can
now
hear
you
myself
hyped.
scream.
All right, here you go. So we'll be right back after this with another dynamic interview. We'll be right back, y'all.
We just want to get a little background as to who the Fantastic Noise is and the noisemakers. If you can let us know.
Yes, absolutely. So once again, I am Fantastic Noise. I am the original noisemaker, so no one's gonna make as much noise as me, okay? And right here we have the Noisemaker Band. This is only half of it. The other stuffs are upstairs. My Kevin Lamar, Lonnie, and Dobbs, who are the actual band members. These are the background singers, and we came to make some noise. We came to bring that noise today. That's what we try to do. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did you guys get together?
Oh man, so it started with I've been doing this on my own for almost 3 years now. And man, I guess each of these people here have different background stories. Most of us went to the same church together, and we just kept going. This one, this is one of my assistants here, one of like my biggest supporter, my biggest cheerleader here. She's an assistant, so we just been building, and the same thing with upstairs with the band, just meeting through people, kept networking, kept seeing, and it was just like God ordained. Bam, here we are.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, could you guys do We Talk Weekly a favor?
Yes.
Can you give us a drop in a melody type way?
Oh, a melody type way?
Yes.
Okay. So We Talk Weekly?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to do something like this. We Talk Weekly, come and hear us. We Talk Weekly, come and hear them. 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 We Talk Weekly, come and hear them.
Okay, get beautified because y'all already gorgeous.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We talk.
Get beautified because you're already gorgeous. That came off the dome. That was cute.
I know, right?
That was
I
bars.
told you that's one of my favorite clips of all time. I'm gonna let you finish, but that clip right there is one of my favorites of all time. I'm your boy Charles Gregory. We Talk Weeklies after the talk of WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We Talk Weeklies after the talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful
Class Lady Sparkle.
And you already know we have someone with whom I have a tremendous amount of respect for. So why don't you let us know who do we have today?
Absolutely. Today we have Carly Citron.
Citron.
Citron. We have Carly Citron, is the bureau chief of Chalkbeat Philadelphia, joining in March of 2023. Previously, she covered education, policy, and politics at Politico. Politico, and a New Jersey Spotlight News. Her work has also appeared in Vox, the Boston Globe, WBUR. She's happy to discuss year-round school, immigrant student concerns, or AI cyber charter schools.
Yeah.
I like that. Y'all already know what to do. Let's give a warm We Talk Weekly welcome to Carly.
Yeah, shout out to Carly in the building. Carly is back. Carly's a
Welcome.
friend to the show. She was here a couple times. She was
Real-
here one time, but she's a friend to the show, so she
I
can
was
come anytime.
absent that day.
Yeah, you was
I
there.
wasn't here, so I'm like ready to hear about all the good things that she got.
No, well,
going
she's
on.
going to tell you, but she's doing some amazing work in the communities, in those schools, and I think this is a great time to kind of leave the conversation with, or like transition the conversation into you as it relates to what you're seeing now since the announcement, right, of, getting rid of the Department of Education. Where do you guys stand now? Because you do a lot of work in that ecosystem, in that space. And so I'm really curious as to what has the talks been within, your peers, and what have you guys decided to do in terms of pivoting now? Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for having me back. It's an honor and a privilege. This is I'm a fan, so it's good to be
thank
here.
you.
Thank you for the work that you do.
Oh, thank you. No.
You really you kicked it off. I mean, it is. I think what we're all feeling right now is what a lot of folks are feeling, which is confusion and a lot of sort of uncertainty. There's a lot of things coming down the pike, a lot of things up in the air. There's executive orders flying at us that are then being taken up by the courts and kind of blocked by the courts, and so nobody really feels like they have firm ground underneath them right now to be making decisions. And so when I talked to the school superintendent, Tony Wallington, of Philadelphia Public Schools, he's sort of remaining optimistic, but does not want to weigh in on a lot of political stuff that's happening. What he told us is he sees his job as tending to the day-to-day of running this school district and this school system, and that the advocacy and political statements will be made by the school board, by the mayor, but we haven't necessarily seen or
Yeah.
heard much from them either. So
yeah.
there's a lot of just questions about what's gonna happen and you know what's
And do you think that's a good stance to take though? Like what's going on? It's like certain times, and I think that's what the Trump administration has example is 10 toes down. Like although this is your job, but there are certain times that rules shouldn't apply. Like, hey, we need to get answers. We need for you to advocate and you know and come out of what just are the job description.
Yeah, and I've certainly heard from a lot of teachers who feel that way. There's a lot of teachers texting me being like, "Where is our leadership? Where, you know, what are we doing? We need more guidance. We need more, you know, of a kind of firm position." And so I know there are a lot of teachers and folks in school staff that are looking for, you know, more of a political statement from the superintendent, but from my conversations with him, it seems like he is really focused on things that the district is doing well. I mean, he'll be the first one to point out that attendance is sort of up a little bit. Dropout rates are a little bit down. Math scores are creeping up a little bit. And so it's, I think in talking to him, what he wants people to know about the district is we're turning a corner. Students are performing better. Things are going well. And I think there's a little bit of this fear that nobody wants the eye of Sauron to turn onto
Right.
Philadelphia,
Right.
but I hear you, and I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of teachers that hear you too.
And also, it looks like you have a vast education on the immigrant studies or students. Tell us about what your thoughts are, because a lot of undocumented immigrants here in Philadelphia and their children have been removed. And I mean, children to the part of the traumas being traumatized while they're in school. So tell us about that. And has that happened, or is that just something that's a rumor that's going around that kids are being removed while they're in class? Tell us more about what you know.
Yeah, so I want to be really clear. There have been no immigration actions in schools at this point, especially none in Philadelphia. So there have been a lot of rumors. Like, again, I get texts that, like, we see a van, we see this, that, and the other thing. There have been no confirmed incidences of any of this. Now, that doesn't mean that people aren't legitimately afraid, right? That doesn't mean that people aren't feeling uncertain, and those feelings of fear and uncertainty are driving decisions that we're making. We've been hearing anecdotally from some teachers that some students aren't coming to school. Some students' attendances are down. You know, some parents aren't necessarily coming to pick up at the same pickup hours, or they're sending other folks.
Oh, wow.
So it's definitely having an impact on these communities. Now, we've asked for attendance data from the school district. We have yet to receive it. So if anyone from the school district is listening, please send us attendance data so that we can, so that we know what's going on and have a better picture of what is really happening. And so it's not all just anecdotal. Because I think part of the issue too is, you know, folks get scared, they text each other, they post on social media, you know, and that's how rumors get started, and that kind of escalates the fear even more. So I think what we're trying to do is get reliable information out, say what the district protocol is, and make sure that people know that, you know, schools are still safe, you know, safe spaces for folks.
And to that point, I want to talk a little bit about, this was an email that actually came out, and you know, my son is in the school district, and they sent this letter out across the board, and it said, "Good morning, community." It says, "I hope the email finds you well, Dr. Tony Waddington. Our district superintendent shared with you the policies and procedures around our district welcome school policy. This follow-up is to ensure that all our families receive this information." It says all school district of Philadelphia schools, including Science Leadership Academy, and all charters, are sanctuary schools. It says this means that our school staff, includes school police officers, will not cooperate with any ICE agents or other federal immigrants enforcement officials without judicial warrants. District employees, volunteer, and contractors are prohibited from asking about or sharing any personal information about your students or your families, including immigration status, unless required by law and authorities by the District Office of General Counsel. School leaders and staff have been provided with guidance on how to handle any potential requests from immigration officials. And I thought that was a pretty hard stance. And I was pleasantly surprised to hear someone taking a strong stance like that, especially coming from, you're talking about a federal situation here, right? And so to that position, you have been doing a lot of work unapologetically, right? Have you been seeing more division lately, or have you been seeing more people kind of coming together and saying, like, we need to work this out? What is the ecosystem? What is the environment you have been seeing lately?
Yeah, I mean, that's such an interesting question. And it's great to hear your perspective, too, as a parent and seeing what the messaging is and how that's hitting you. I think that's so important as well. I mean, I think I'm a little tainted by the Super Bowl win because the feeling of unity, like the feeling
go
of
Birds.
unity.
Oh
yeah,
that's right.
Go Birds! Round of applause. Here they go Birds.
But like you feel it, right? Like
sure.
there has been this feeling of the city coming together. There has been this feeling of unity lately over the past couple weeks and days that I think like, it has helped to cushion us a little bit, I think, from some of the political uncertainty that like this is something that people are holding really tightly onto as their identity as a Philadelphian, as, who we are and what we're about. So I do think I've experienced some really positive, warm, unifying feelings. Now, whether that's going to hold long term, I don't know. Maybe we need the Phillies to come through. I don't know. But but yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. There's challenges with schools, the teachers, and the principals in terms of finding or gaining the support that they need to even support the teachers, right? Gentleman kind of mentioned that, yes, there needs to be some support, and it kind of start with the principals, right? There's other conversations that saying that within the state there needs to be monies dedicated to the schools so the principals can do their job. What is your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, any teacher will tell you, and my fiance is a teacher, so we know
shout out to the teacher.
Shout out to teachers, and school staff, all counselors, everybody working in schools. But everyone will tell you, good leadership is the most important deciding factor in whether or not you stay in this field. There are a lot of teachers who are burnt out, who are beat down, who are having a hard time, and they say that if they got a principal who they feel has their back and supports them and is there for them, they are more likely to stay in this profession and stay with our students and with our kids. And so leadership is everything. And it definitely, and the principals need that support as well. Leadership, it's from the top and it kind of trickles down to everyone else. And so, I think having enough support and backing for everyone is important, and money is the number one question.
Yes.
We know there was a court case that decided that our schools, that the way Pennsylvania funds our public schools is unconstitutional.
Yeah.
So it has been decided by a court. That is not me saying this as a reporter. The court of, in the Commonwealth Court judge ruled Pennsylvania does not adequately fund its public schools.
Wow.
So where's the money going?
So,
I know,
Give
right?
me the tea.
That's the question. Well, I think now when we look at the governor's most recent budget proposal from last year and from this year, there's an effort to send more money to Philly especially, but to all the underfunded districts in the state. There's a lot of small rural districts as well that are also underfunded. So there is an effort now to be getting more money to our public schools.
Is that going to be retroactive? Like, are they going to account for the years that they lost? No.
That's a good question.
Yeah. So all of the money where they went up on the sugar tax and all these other taxes that they said would go to the schools, they haven't been allocating that money?
Well, so city money, yes. I have not
looked
through every single book.
We're
talking state level. It's been underfunded, but
Right.
the city. There's also an argument to be made that the city should spend more on its schools. That's a city council discussion, and Mayor Cheryl Parker recently kind of upped the percentage of property tax revenue that goes to the school district. So it's just kind of shifting
Yeah,
shifting
but
things
for
around a
so
little
long,
bit.
like we talked about, there's monies that have been supposedly coming from taxpayers that, that hasn't been gone to the schools. You got schools who don't even have air conditioning or proper pipes. Like it's so many. There's so many debilitating buildings that they're not even taking the proper assessment of. So it's almost like you keep saying that we're going to do this, but it's still not showing any improvement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, that is the core of everything, right? If you want world-class education, you want buildings that are free of asbestos and lead and aren't, an environmental hazard to the students who are in the mold.
Yes, asthma has gone on the
Asthma.
rise, and they're wondering why. And it's like you're breathing in mold.
Yeah. So what the district has decided that they're, undertaking is this process of how they call it right sizing, or basically taking a stock of all the buildings that they have and saying, our enrollment has been going down over the past couple of years. It's like slightly up this year, but down for the most part. And they've got too many old buildings that are going to cost too much money to fix up. So the plan is they've been holding these community conversations, and they've said, prepare yourselves. Some schools will likely be closed in the next couple of years. And that is hard to hear, and that is nasty business. But what they keep saying is if we can spread people out, get them in the buildings that are healthy and safe and new, and do renovations where we can, and build a new school or two where we can, if we just kind of shift everyone around and get rid of some of these older buildings.
Oh, I don't know, because
I
even
know.
like Germantown High, like I said, I'm from Mount Airy. I went to King. Germantown High was supposed to be a building that they were going to renovate. Then they wound up having a big developer sell it. The black people in the community wanted to buy it. They wind up redlining that so that they couldn't, and had the. So it's almost like I don't know. I don't know how much I can believe the politicians when they say, "Hey, let's take them out of these buildings that are dilapidated," when you can truly renovate them, because you're still renovating them to make $1.
Right.
That's
it. Like, you hit it. And that is when I go to these community conversations, that's what everyone says. We've been here. We saw this. 2013, you closed 30, 23, however many schools. And now you're back saying you need to close more, that wasn't enough, that those savings weren't enough, that it didn't do what
And
you said
honestly,
it was
it's
gonna do.
only in the underserved communities, a lot of them. It's like these are the ones who need it the most, and you're targeting those communities.
Yeah, and this is when we supposed to hold some of those elected officials accountable, and I think oftentimes you have community conversations in these town halls that just seem to serve people just to appease them, right? Go ahead and say what you want to say. I'm going to do what I want to do anyway, but yeah, go ahead and say. And it's just, we have to find a better way to truly hold elected officials accountable. And I believe when you have platforms that's pretty much not scared to amplify messages like We Talk Weekly, we'll continue to do amplify those voices, and hopefully the right people will hear them to hold those people accountable. But I want to say something. I want to read this that supports your position when it talk about the unconstitutional piece. It said in February 2023, Commonwealth Court Judge Renee Cohn Jubilary, I believe that's the name. I'm sorry, I messed that name up. Ruled that Pennsylvania school funding system is unconstitutional. The decision was a result of lawsuit filed in 2014 by 6 school districts, the Pennsylvania Association of Rural and Small Schools, the NAACP PA State Conference, and a group of parents. The lawsuit argued that the state reliance on local property taxes to fund schools creates significant disparities between wealthy and low wealth districts, violating the state constitution's requirement for a thorough and efficient system of public education. Some of the key points were unconstitutional funding system. The court found that the current system fails to provide adequate resources for all students, particularly in low wealth districts. The need for reform. The ruling mandates that the state legislature, executive branch, and educators work together to devise a new funding plan and address their constitutional deficiencies. And last, an impact on students. The decision aims to ensure that all students, regardless of their district wealth, receive a quality education as guaranteed by the state constitution. That's big. That's huge. That's huge. And it says a lot that there's things at play that some of the small folk don't have a handle on, or is going over their heads, right? And if that was a lawsuit, then there needs to be some watchdogs or enforcement of making sure that's handled, or the proper procedures need to be in place to fix that. And so whatever needs to happen, if you're watching, y'all need to get out there and do some work.
Yeah, and let me tell you, now's the time, because it's budget negotiation season. They are crafting in Harrisburg right now. They are crafting their budget. They are deciding they are talking to each other and deciding how much Philadelphia schools will get for the next year. So if you're gonna make your calls or do what you're gonna do, like, you know, there's a couple months before the budget is voted on and signed and all that kind of stuff. But those conversations are happening right now in Harrisburg.
Wow. That's jumping right into civics then, right? The conversation on civics. I mean, you were here and we talked a little bit about that, but how important is it when it comes to things like this and the conversation about school and education in Philadelphia? How important is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's why I love writing about education so much. It affects everybody. Everybody's got a stake in education. Everybody went to school. Everybody knows someone who went to school. Everybody's got a kid or someone in their life who is currently in a school. It is the great unifying body where everybody comes together regardless of your background. It's something that everybody has in common, and you know, regardless of your beliefs, of whether, you know, you're in a private school, public school, charter school, whatever, all the different types of schools. You know, education is the core of what we need for society. A good education builds a good city, builds a good community, makes good neighbors. So yeah, being involved, you know, talking to teachers, to community members, seeing what your local school is up to, supporting them, I think is really important, at least for me.
Interesting. Cyber controversial. Like from the charter school perspective.
AI, cyber, right?
AI. Now,
which is a double scary thing, right?
Yeah.
For those.
But we are living in a different time. We're not in the days of you can't do virtual. Like people are getting their medical license. Like you're becoming an MD virtually, you know? But as far as the AI cyber portion of it, tell us more about what that looks like, what future that has in education, and I guess what's the success that we can have as an outcome that we're looking forward to.
Yeah, diving into this was so interesting and weird. So basically what happened was there's a company based in Texas that produces this AI software they call 2-hour learning. They promise your kid can learn more in 2 hours using their AI virtual tutors than they would learn in, you know, however many hours of a school day. And they are kind of blanketing the country with public charter school applications. They already have a couple private schools, but now they're going state by state and saying we would like public funding to educate kids using AI tutors. And that freaked a lot of people out.
Wow. So let me, so this isn't just teaching you, you're having a robotic teacher.
It is an AI tutor. So basically all of the lessons crafted, all of the worksheets will be done by an AI tutor and sent to the okay, but now let me be clear. This application was rejected in Pennsylvania.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I bury the lead a little bit, but this charter school application was rejected in Pennsylvania. Now,
they get rid of teachers. I thought it was something different. I'm thinking you're teaching about
about losing jobs.
I'm thinking it was more of an NFT, cybersecurity, that type of thing. But this is, you know, supermarket, check my own self out, let the computer do it all. Oh, okay, finish explaining.
So
okay.
That's been rejected in Pennsylvania. Now, it doesn't mean it won't come back in
for
some
sure.
form. Now, there's other things, like the district itself is doing stuff to try and incorporate AI into, its professional development for teachers. So the idea is, I think they're running a small pilot program with University of Pennsylvania where if you're a teacher and you want to kind of interact and learn ways to use AI in your teaching practice. They're running some professional development courses for that. Now, the district also operates its own virtual school, which is not AI, but it is all online. They have real teachers at the Constance Clayton headquarters downtown.
Constance Clayton. Shout out to Constance Clayton.
Yup. I almost said 440 and then I corrected myself. It is the Connie Clayton.
I appreciate you doing that. Shout out to Constance Clayton. We walked to school in 30 inches of snow.
Not even 30. I think it was like 10
crazy.
degrees.
I know, right?
Yeah.
She is an icon of education in
is.
Philadelphia. And,
Dr. Connie Clayton.
Her portrait is on the wall. But so the district does offer its own virtual school as well, where teachers are teaching in person at the building, but it is done for students who, for whatever reason, need to be virtual. Now, a lot of these students, people with maybe unstable home situations who can't necessarily make it to school in person, maybe long-term health issues where they can't be in person at a school. This is like another option the district has. It's called the Philadelphia Virtual Academy or something, PVA. And so that is an option that the district offers. There are all sorts of other cyber charter schools that are not necessarily AI based, but that are operating all over the state. That a bunch of Philly parents have also taken notice of as well for many reasons.
Now, I think AI is great, but I also remember the Bush administration where No Child Left Behind, and there were really children who were left behind. They were pushing them forward, and they couldn't even read or write because of AI, and it's a lot of typing and things like that. Children are no longer even able to write in cursive. Is this going to hurt them from a printing or writing really just regular English print because it's AI? Do you know what I mean? They're really not using the handwritten skills. It's really a lot of virtual. So
I just want to put that in context, though, right? Because AI had nothing to do with the curriculum in terms of taking handwriting
Absolutely
or taking.
not.
So I just want to make sure
Okay.
that that's
Absolutely.
clear. That
Yeah.
that had nothing to do
No.
with that. And I'll let you answer, but I just want to put that in context. Go ahead. Yana.
Yeah, but I think it's all part of the point that you're making, which is, if kids are using AI to write essays,
Right.
it's not just handwriting, it's also the ability to write essays. And so I've had some really, really interesting conversations with young people and with teachers and with adults. And I think the way that adults interact and view AI is a lot different than the way that young people do.
Absolutely.
I talk to young people who say, you're not doing long division, by yourself all day. You had to learn long division in school. When's the last time you've used long division?
And to that new math is
Right.
I
I
don't wanna
like
talk
the new
about
math.
that. I can't stand it. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, it doesn't make sense.
But to that point, I think a lot of young people view it as a calculator, right?
Right.
You'll never be without it in your life. When I'm an adult and I can use AI, I'm going to use AI all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
And now there are adults who look back and say, no, some of these skills are important. Learning
much
to
so.
express yourself in words and use critical thinking. These are all really foundational abilities that
100%.
make us human and make us, who we are, and that we don't want to lose that. And so I think what's happening right now is teachers and students are kind of butting heads, but also finding out how to come together around this new technology, because it's not going away.
not.
No.
It's here.
it's going to evolve
So-
more, especially with Elon Musk.
So So my position on that is a few different things, right? First and foremost, there's this generation divide anyway, right? Where even the way that we communicate with kids, it's like, this idea of soft parenting, and then it's the generation where it's like, no, you fall on the ground, wipe yourself up, get back up and go, right? And so there's always this division of, ways of thinking, these big, I always use the word big thinkers, right? But if we get into AI, I like to use the idea that when you really know it, because I teach in AI, right? And so that position, it becomes more of how you're using it, right? And so some people use a pen, some people use a pencil, right? It's a tool,
Yeah.
right? And so even if someone was to use, say, for example, these LLMs, these large language models, right? They have to know how to actually ask the question, which becomes a science in itself that needs to be taught. Because there's one way to say, just like you would write a paper, right? Asking a question as a thesis, right? You need to ask a question and try to understand why you're writing it, right? If you just ask a ChatGPT, write me a story on, I don't know, on why the sky is blue. It's going to give you an output. It's different by saying something along the line of, I would like for you to write a story on why the sky is blue. However, make sure you explain, one, how the sky got to be blue, why it is blue, why it's clouds in it. So you have to be a little bit more colorful in engineering your prompt, right? And so when we talk about teachers and including the youth, we know that the digital ecosystem, electronics, they're not going anywhere. They're using this stuff, right? We know that. We have to make sure that we understand what's not going anywhere and jump into the space so we can communicate on the same vibration that they're on. Because the more you fight against it, the more you're going to get pushed back and left, right? This is not to you. I'm just saying.
No, I agree.
And so that said,
To a degree.
Yeah. So I would just say, when it comes to this idea of AI, it sounds scary, but it's not going anywhere. So you have to jump into it, or you're going to get lost and be the old parent trying to operate a phone, right? We giving babies phones. They know how to operate these phones better than we
At
do.
two.
Now. At 2. Know how to flip through pages, pull up,
Call you on FaceTime,
right? And so that's happening. That's not going anywhere. So we can't push back against it. We just have to be a little open-minded when it comes to these things. Go
But
ahead.
I also think that there's a balance, right? Because there is stagnation. You look at the UV light too long, there's a problem.
100%.
They even tell you that if you get stimulated by watching videos and things, you don't know how to have creativity independently. So that stimulation is something that is not good as well. For example, you use your GPS to go somewhere. You can never get there by yourself without the GPS until you're cognizant to say, hey, that's a landmark, that supermarket. That's a landmark, that fire hydrant. And you know when to turn or whatever. But it's research and studies have proven that AI can stagnate the brain or stomp it if you don't have the critical thinking. So to what you said, descriptive writing, why don't you teach portions of that and then introduce the AI? Because my whole house, I love tech. I am like, my whole house is like a smartphone, from my thermostat to all of my cameras to push button locks to get in my home. But I also say, okay, in the event my phone dies to get in my house, I have a lock. I have it where I can go in the back door and use my key, because you're still messing with technology. And we've already experienced, when your computer goes down, what do you have? But if you had that notebook, you wouldn't be worried about your contacts in your phone.
Right.
Or if you remembered your loved one's number, you wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, I always just push their name. I don't remember the number. But before AI, you would have to have a memory of the number.
So
those two worlds, I just think.
But to that point, what is We Talk Weekly? We talk weekly, constantly. Do what?
Evolve.
Focus on solutions.
Absolutely. So, Carly is going to tell us what that solution is.
She said, "No, don't put me in this. Don't put me in this."
Carly, fix AI.
What are your thoughts?
No, but
on?
to that point,
Yes.
so I'm just saying that you came up with a solution, is what I'm saying, right? And so it's not about just, oh, I got to enter my door through a code. I also have a key that I can make sure that if I don't have a code or something goes wrong, I can open it up with a key. That's the point. So the point is, if you know there are certain things or you're uncomfortable with certain things, then you need to prepare.
But that's the part that's not being told to the 2-year-old who's giving her the iPod
Who's responsible for that?
or iPad. The parent. Well,
Exactly.
not you. No.
That is because
Because
the parent gives the kid the what?
But the parent is not always the parent, meaning that this child could have guardians. This child could. It's not. You know what I mean? I think that it's. How can I say? I think it's a community's responsibility.
Okay.
To a degree.
Okay.
I think that certain things should not be. There should be certain locks that they put on these devices.
Of course.
In order for you to say, okay, this is what I wanted. You know what I mean? But a lot of times you don't find that. Because of where we are in the electronic world.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, there's some things put in place. It's just like the argument of gun control, right? They say, okay, gun control, well, guns don't. It's like guns don't kill people. People pull the trigger to kill people, right? But there are also laws in place to make sure that certain checks and balances that you need to even purchase a gun, right? They get all this, and then there's laws that need to be enforced for people who have guns. So that's my point, right? There are things in play. You have to make sure that you operate within the ecosystem, and if there are not any benchmarks or parameters set in place, then as we see those little, I guess, like, little things, those little holes, then we advocate or make sure that you fill those holes, because these are the things that's here. We can't get rid of guns.
No.
Guns are here, right? But we know that there's some illegal guns that's coming in the city. The planet knows this. At least Philadelphia knows this, right? And I'm sure everybody else knows this. Well, if we know this, how come the people that can control this don't control it? So we need to start holding those people accountable. Hence solutions, right? So we just come up with the solutions, because we talk weekly, we good at what we do, right? Come up with the solutions to fix some of these things. I'll pass it back to you. That's my
I want to pass it to Carly.
Go ahead, Carly.
Carly,
Give Carly a round of applause for dealing with us right now.
Carly, what are your thoughts on the AI world? Some of the challenges, what we can do to probably not so much mitigate it, but to have more of a balance. What's your thoughts of the conversation C and I just had?
Yeah.
I mean, this is what needs to be happening.
Yeah, the conversation.
The conversation
That's
needs to
right.
happen. Pushback coming from a bunch of different sides. I think your point about it taking a community is, I could not have put it better. It's so true that we need to, we fight for the things that we value. We fight for the things that are important to us. Things like critical thinking are important to us.
Yes.
And so we will find ways to maintain that, because it is so important. It is so crucial to who we are. Now, whether that's through regulation, whether that is, we have signs at amusement parks that say you must be this tall to ride for your own safety. Whether there are some kind of restrictions or regulations that need to be put in place, that might be one thing. I know some schools or classrooms are experimenting with locking away phones or changing their phone policies. But it's also, it takes parents, caregivers, friends, peers, young people to talk to their peers and say, I think we should hang out in person more. Like,
That's right.
Let's come over. Invite people over. Have these conversations. Talk to each other. Keep that spirit alive. I think that is going to be our only saving grace. Is we have to hold on to our humanity, even as AI grows and becomes more incorporated into our lives. Like, we have to hold on to each other. We have to keep talking to each other. We have to keep hashing these things out. I put my phone in black and white. My phone is in black and white all the time because that is what works for me and what I need to protect my brain and my eyes. But that was a decision I was able to make for myself.
That's your agency. Absolutely. You took your agency. And to Spark point, in certain concerts now, they don't let you bring the phone in. And some of the argument, and some of the argument is, look, enjoy the moment. Enjoy. Most people not even paying attention. They doing this, the whole time. I think Kevin Hart, you can't go to one of his.
I've been to his.
He'll lock your phone up.
You can't. That's why it's so long to get in, because they have the security or whoever. You got to go in. They give you the key, they lock it up, and then you have to walk through a device to make sure you don't have another phone on you. So they were and they said they were doing a movie. That was his last movie. So I thought it was because of that.
Okay.
But are you saying that
No,
they
this
do it?
happened like 2-3 years ago. And he was like, before you walked in, you put your phone in a sleeve and left it there, and you got it when you leave. But and I think it's actually I think you kept it. You kept the sleeve, but the only way you can open it is once you walked out. It was something like that.
No,
it
I
was
had a
something-
key, but it was a movie. He made sure that you weren't going to, do with the movie. So, but I think that there needs to be a balance. They did tell us about this time, like the Jetsons, that computers made our life amazing. It really did. And I'm talking even from a health perspective, the innovative health care that we have based on laparoscopic and all those different things that we undergo for surgery have been because of machines.
That's right.
Our computers.
A
So
lot of it has been because of AI.
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
And I think that it's a wonderful tool we have, but just like humans, we tend to take things and we kind of abuse it,
Yeah, it's
and
true.
then we can use it to our detriment.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what I'm saying, to teach the community to say, hey, if you're giving this for your child, I have an autistic niece who's nonverbal. The AI has helped her,
right.
but if she doesn't know how to stimuli and self-regulate, and we take it from, if she has it all the time,
Yeah, she have
that
a
can
tantrum,
be,
yeah.
so anything that's too much, even water, you get too much air in your lungs,
that's right.
it's not good.
You could drown yourself drinking so much. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So-
So everything's done in moderation. Or you can just say that.
Yeah.
Go
I
ahead.
have one more question for
Sure.
Carly.
Well, she ain't going nowhere yet.
yeah,
We
okay.
keeping her here. She said she a friend of the
Hey, I
show.
know
She
where
got.
to be.
What about year-round school?
Yeah.
Tell us about what your thoughts are and what your I think you wrote something about year-round school. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so this was Mayor Parker's big campaign promise was year-round school. Now, on the campaign trail, she did not have specifics about what that would be. It will be, determined at a later date if I am elected. And lo and behold, she was elected. And now the messaging has changed. It is
yeah.
no longer year-round school. It is now extended day, extended year school. And they are piloting it in a few different school buildings. Now, I've been to these school buildings. I've talked to these teachers. At the current moment, it appears to be expanding access to things that are already happening. So these schools already had these programs, already had these
So
a lot
nothing
of
happened. If you already
Just somebody want to take credit for something that's already there. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you, Kanye. I'm gonna let you finish.
Well, explain to me, because I'm lost. Like, if they've already had these programs, then how is it something new?
Yeah, I mean, you're where I'm at, which is, there's a couple more seats. There's more availability for the programs. I guess buildings were open during winter break this year, and some students took part in some activities during winter break. And we've been told that'll also happen for spring break and over summer vacation, but we have yet to see it. I think it's the way the district has explained it to me, and the way the city has explained it to me, is they're using this year to kind of keep their eyes on it and see what's going on, see what's working. Are students participating in the activities that, first of all, that they already have? So if nobody's using the services that are already there, that's important information to have. So they've told me it's a data gathering phase where they're going around to these schools, watching them extra closely, seeing, are kids using it? Do teachers like it? Is it working out? Do parents like it? Do more kids want it? And then they have said that they will expand it in future years.
Okay.
The concerns you bring up are the concerns parents text me all the time, which is,
ask.
what do you mean year-round school? When is it starting? Do I have to sign up for it? Is
Right.
my school involved? Like, I've heard no information.
See, and here's where I look at for that. Now, parents work year round, except for people who are probably in education, and they say, hey, we want to have these this time off for family vacations or what have you. However, there are parents who like, I wish my child could go year round, because then I won't have the burden of the financial obligations of daycare or family member or whatever. So my question is that for year round school, was there a budget for the teachers, because the staff has to be paid during that time, and teachers honestly would appreciate more of a 12-month salary versus a 10-month, because they have to stretch it out so that they can still have money coming in
No,
during
they
the summer.
get paid over the summer.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
When did
do.
they start getting paid?
They get paid
You
over
get
the
paid-
summer.
You
Yeah.
get paid a year's time. But
But they
however,
did they extend it?
well, so here's the thing. First of all, teachers are not making a
Yeah.
billion
Yeah.
dollars.
Yeah,
So
not at
even if
all.
they're getting paid all year
Absolutely.
round, they're not making as much
I
as the
stand corrected
CEO.
on that then.
However, you raise a really important point, and this is the point that the teachers union has been making, which is that no year-round school without negotiating with the union.
That's
so
right.
the workers have been saying, and what the district has said is, so far with this pilot program, there have been no changes to contracts. There's no requirements that teachers come in year round. Now, I went and visited Belmont Charter School, which has been doing a sort of similar
Yeah.
year round thing already. And they leave the summer work and break work open to teachers to sign up if they want. They can come in and earn additional money for working the summer if that's something that they want. And I met a lot of teachers who said,
Yeah.
I'm not
That's
doing
an
anything.
option.
I'm in the city. I really like this. I
That's
can
right.
come in, teach
And
an
make
art.
more money?
Yeah, make more
Than
money.
I need to have anyway.
Teach an art
Yeah.
class, hang out,
Mm-hmm.
do some more, interactive work that's not necessarily just sitting down and doing worksheets and all that. So there are some teachers that really appreciate it. There are others who say, this summer I need to relax. I've been
Absolutely.
with your middle school kids too long. They have been,
Have you heard of teacher TikTok?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Exactly. So there are plenty of teachers who say, no, thank you. This is much needed time for me to rest, refresh, and also prepare for the next school year of
right.
what's coming, what I need to teach. So it's,
I pushed back a lot when it came to that, and the reason I did is because there's already extended day with after school programs. There's already people doing work and have programs to assist. You just feel like you got a bright idea to say, hey, I'll do an extended school doing the same work that everyone else is doing already. It made no sense to me. It was a lot of people saying, oh, this is cool. No, it's not. It's absolutely not. Because our teachers are already extended and overworked anyway, underpaid, right? And so what about people who have camps? That's their whole life, waiting for the summer to have camps for the kids. That does sometimes education-based programs.
Right.
So what do you do with those people? What do you do with the subcontractors? I was in the school system, right? They hired me to go in and teach other things, right? Extracurricular activities, right? That's what we were there for. You're going to say, hey, you just taught a classroom of 34 kids from 7 o'clock to 3:30 without a break, without support, right? You get maybe an hour break or something like that, but you use your break to prep, right? You leave at 4:30, right? Because school let out at 3:30. You might have a meeting, so now you got to stay to even prepare for the next morning. But no, I want you now to stay to 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
What about my kids?
Sherelle needs to talk to Charles.
I was going to say, you should take this to the mayor.
Oh man, I was ready for it. I was ready for it. I got all the smoke. Look, this is what listen, I'm gonna tell you. And so when it comes to the people, when you talk about the problem that I had with a lot of the policies or the new ideas that people of, I guess, leadership, because I won't just point at the mayor, because I think she's doing some great things also. But the problem that I have seen was these quote unquote bright ideas that's taking out the people who's already locally doing the work. I don't want to bring up Kensington, but I have friends and people in Kensington that's doing the work for the people. So why do you think that you have an amazing, bright idea to just go into Kensington and just change everything when you didn't even talk to the people that's already in Kensington doing the work? None of this made sense to me. And so one of the things when we talk about We Talk Weekly and we talk about solutions is about talking to people,
Right.
right? That's why we're hyper local news, right? We're not legacy. We're not in competition with legacy. We're really in those streets. We're talking to the people, right? And so being able to give platform to people like you to talk about the things that you're actually doing, right? And I think that was the biggest problem with the administration, just coming up with ideas without talking to people that's actually doing the work that can essentially assist you. And it just didn't make no sense to me. I'll give me a round of applause for me.
That's right.
Give me a round of applause for me. I'm doing it.
I'm gonna thank me.
I know. I'm gonna thank me for believing in
Right,
me.
right.
You know. So real. Dang, Hey,
Yes.
Tom, it's
You
already
guys-
10 o'clock.
Carly, I know.
Gee, you stayed with us. I'm sorry. We had kept you on.
Carly,
You was
thank
part of the
you.
show today.
Yes,
No, it's a pleasure. It's an honor.
you definitely helped with that that information and pulling that even out of Charles just now. So
Man, it made me mad, right? Made me upset. I love my people. I love Philly. Like I'm such a Philadelphian. I love my people. I love the people who's actually out there doing their work, right? One thing that I saw was because when I grew up, and the story about my grandma, I didn't tell us. I was about like 9 years old, and I love my grandma. I used to stay with my grandma.
What was her name?
Pauline Jones.
Pauline Jones.
Yeah, Pauline Jones. In Winfield area on Woodcrest. Back then, it was a big gang kind of like era, right? I remember looking out the back window and seeing like had to be almost 20 guys out there about to go. I mean, they started walking through. I'm like, Grandma, it's people outside. They about to. She looked out the back and she was like, I'll be back. I seen her walk out there and walking it back in between like the. I'm like, what is going on? She like this to this, like this to this.
Wow.
Next thing I know, they parted ways. Not until I was older, till I realized that was a culture of people, those young guys that grew up with people like my grandma that came get some bread. That hey,
She
Miss Jo-
babysat
Yes,
or-
that's my point. That's the thing that we're missing today, right? We don't have that anymore, and that's why I like to amplify, like the Miss Jones, the people that's on the corners that need to, have the platform to say. This is how we fix the community, because I'm in the community every day. I'm not behind the desk. I'm not in these big rooms pontificating and being exasperated about the things that's happening and we going to extrapolate no. It's it's things that's already at play to fix certain things because it's working. But you don't want to give them a platform to do it. Well, guess what? We will. That's where I'm at with it. This is We Talk Weekly, y'all. We Talk Weekly. So this is what I'm going to say to you. We would love for you to come back on a regular basis. Come back on a regular basis. Maybe once a month. We talk about education.
Yeah.
You give a little spiel and you join in with the conversation. How would you like that?
I'm telling you, everybody is passionate about education. It
Yes.
brings it
Yes.
out in
Yeah, for sure.
everybody.
Yeah.
It's the greatest privilege
civics.
to talk about it.
yeah.
It's civics. It's
There
it's
you go.
everything.
There you go. Why don't you tell everyone how they can get in contact with you, find you, and all that good old stuff?
Sure, yeah. I'm at chalkbeat.org, chalkbeat.org. Then that you can see education news from Philadelphia and a bunch of cities across the country. You can find my contact info. I'm Carly Citrin, CarlySitrin. You can find me pretty easily on that website. Also, come see us. We are hosting an event at Temple University
Okay.
on February 20th
Okay.
from 6 to 8 p.m. We will be talking about community feelings about school closures and about a lot of the things that we talked about today. So you can find more information about that by signing up for our newsletters, or I can, if you reach out to me, I can get you that information. We would love
Will
to
any
see.
press be there?
Yeah, we'll be there.
Okay, yeah.
Hopefully other folks will be there. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll come,
we're
we'll come
co-hosting
out.
with Temple University's Logan Center for Urban Investigative
Okay,
Reporting,
yeah,
and we
yeah.
want to talk
oh
about
wow,
schools.
and the previous guest,
yeah, absolutely.
he was just talking about that.
That's
there
right.
in the
that's
Logan
right.
area,
Yeah, absolutely.
Germantown area.
Yeah. So we'll make sure that send us an email, let us
Yeah,
know,
yeah, I'll
and
let
we'll
you know.
we'll come out.
Come
We'll
on,
cover
it
that
should
stuff.
be a
Yeah,
good
this is what we
time.
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So we talk weeklies after the Talk of WP. That's our show, ladies
We
and
have
gentlemen.
a crazy schedule. Like we're
know,
going
right?
to the
Yeah, I
Carmen's,
know.
we're going for car.
Yeah,
No, we got
Yeah, a lot of stuff that's going on, right? Yeah. So make sure you send us that information
Yeah, I
because we're
will.
gonna come out. We're gonna
That
bring
would
the
be
cameras
great.
and
We would love
everything.
to see
Absolutely,
you.
make sure that get amplified also.
Bring friends.
Yes, we will. We'll put it out.
Absolutely.
Send it. You got a flyer or anything? We'll put it on the site also. Send it out on our newsletter and make sure that we gonna be there. So make sure y'all come through. And so we talk weeklies after the Talk of WPPMRP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We talk weeklies after the talk. I know we're a little late. But it's okay. This is our show. We do what we want. We say we don't get paid for this, right? We do this for the love, sweat, and tears. So if you want to support,
That's
you can
our
support
payment.
it. Yeah, that's our payment. That's why we do what we do, right? And I'm already hoarse. Go Birds.
Go
Go Birds. I was
Birds.
out there. No doubt, no
Yes.
doubt. I'm Charles Gregory with the beautiful
Classily
and
Sparkle.
the beautiful.
Carly Citrin.
And we're here. We talk weekly, y'all. And we out here like last year.
Peace, y'all.